There's nothing quite like setting a table with pieces that tell a story. Today I'm sharing a romantic table setting filled with antique beauty and a few special treasures I recently found at an estate sale. Today's table is all about vintage table magic, combining beloved antique pieces with soft florals and heirloom charm to create something truly special. I used my Haviland Limoges china, beautiful 24 karat trimmed Cambridge Rosepoint crystal goblets I just found at an estate sale, two-tone silverware, and two romantic arrangements of creamy roses and blush pink peonies. Let's take a closer look at each setting, and I'll share a bit of history behind the pieces too. Each place setting includes an antique dinner plate, salad plate, and a little bone plate off to the side, perfect for bread or small bites. These are all Haviland Limoges with the exception of the charger plates, and I absolutely love their soft florals and elegant silhouette. Haviland Limoges comes from the porcelain-rich region of Limoges, France, where fine white clay has been used to make china since the 1700s. David Haviland, an American, moved there in the 1800s and opened his own factory to produce pieces that appealed to American taste. Elegant, hand-painted florals with delicate shapes and often gilded in gold. These pieces became especially popular in the US, even appearing in the White House. I love how every plate has its own subtle character. It brings such a refined, romantic feeling to the table, like each one is whispering a little story from the past. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you may remember a few of the other Haviland patterns I've shared in past videos, like the soft pink floral set I used for my afternoon tea table, and the delicate pastel pattern that I featured in my birthday tablescape. Both of those are part of what collectors often call Schleiger patterns. Schleiger patterns are a way of cataloging the hundreds of different Haviland designs, many of which were not officially named by the company. Instead, a collector named Arlene Schleiger created a system to organize them by floral motifs, shapes, borders, and color palettes. It's incredibly helpful if you're trying to identify or complete a set. Each Schleiger number represents a specific combination of elements. For example, the floral spray may be identical on two plates, but one has a gold rim while the other has scalloped edges. And that's what makes collecting Haviland so interesting. There's a beautiful sense of variety within the elegance. You'll see that I'm also sharing two additional patterns in this video from my collection. They're a bit different in tone and shape, but they still coordinate beautifully if you like to mix patterns while keeping that romantic and cohesive feel. If you'd like to see more of my Haviland pieces in action, I featured one of my favorite Schleiger patterns with soft pink florals in my afternoon tea table setting, and a delicate pastel set in my romantic birthday tablescape. Each one brings its own mood to the table while still holding that unmistakable Haviland elegance. And of course, no vintage table feels complete without crystal. These goblets are such a special find. I picked them up at a recent estate sale, and the moment I saw that delicate etched pattern and gold trim, I knew they were coming home with me. These are Rosepoint crystal goblets made by the Cambridge Glass Company in Ohio. This pattern was introduced in 1935 and became one of their most popular. The etching is done using a deep acid process, which creates that beautiful lace-like look. Soft rose garlands and scrolls that feel almost like embroidery on glass. This particular set is even more special because of the 24 karat gold trim. They catch the light in the most enchanting way. Rosepoint crystal is still highly collectible today, and I feel so lucky to have found a full set in such pristine condition. Now, some of you may recognize the pattern on these goblets, that elegant etched rose and scroll motif. That's because I've also featured the clear version of these Cambridge Rosepoint crystal glasses in previous videos. It's one of my most used and most loved patterns. The clear rose point was produced by the Cambridge Glass Company between the mid-1930s and the 1950s. At that time, etched glass was incredibly popular for formal dining. It was seen as a luxury touch, especially in an era when hosting dinner parties and afternoon teas was a true art form. What's fascinating is that Rosepoint was one of Cambridge's most enduring designs. It was often used for wedding gifts and special occasion glassware, which is probably why so many sets have been passed down through families. The clear version has that crisp, timeless elegance. It pairs beautifully with any china pattern, whether simple or more elaborate. In the past, I've used it for everything from garden brunches to candlelit dinners. I always find it brings just the right amount of sparkle to the table. To keep the table soft and romantic, I created two floral arrangements in these beautiful vases, detailed with a little bow. I used creamy white roses and pale pink peonies. They echo the colors in the china and add that soft, garden fresh feeling. The two-tone silverware adds another layer of subtle vintage charm. I didn't want anything too modern or too ornate, just something elegant and timeless. If you're putting together a similar table at home, you don't have to find the exact pieces. Just start with one element you love. Maybe it's a set of vintage plates, a piece of crystal, or even just your favorite flower. Let that be your inspiration and build around it with intention and romance. Thank you so much for joining me today and spending time at my table. I hope this inspires you to create your own vintage table magic, whether it's for a special occasion or simply a beautiful everyday moment. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more vintage inspiration. Leave me a comment below letting me know which piece you loved most. The china, the crystals, the florals. I'd love to hear from you.